Hello friends. Have you ever wondered why some friendships feel like a dream come true while others drain every ounce of your energy? Well, if you're a Pisces, or you've got one swimming through your life, get ready, because we're about to uncover the magical and sometimes messy chemistry Pisces shares with every other sign of the zodiac. Let's see which friendships are destined to float, which might sink, and which ones will keep you dancing in the deep end of life's emotional ocean. Pisces and Aries. Fire meets water. When dreamy Pisces collides with fiery Aries, you get a friendship that's equal parts excitement and exasperation, and if you've ever seen a spark hit the ocean, you know exactly how unpredictable this combination can be. Aries strides through life like a warrior on a mission, bold, direct, fearless, and sometimes a little too eager to leap before they look. They're the friend who'll knock on your door at midnight with a wild idea, grab your hand, and say, "Trust me, you'll thank me later." For Pisces, who drifts through the world guided by tides of emotion, intuition, and a secret desire for magic in the mundane, Aries can feel like both a revelation and a hurricane. So, what makes them click? It's that very contrast. Aries shakes Pisces awake when their heads get lost in the clouds. Pisces dreams about what could be. Aries says, "Let's make it happen, now." Together, they blend action and imagination in ways that can turn impossible fantasies into adventures that leave them with stories to tell for years. Picture Pisces sketching out an idea for an art show, only for Aries to rent a gallery space that same night and drag Pisces along to buy paint and canvases. It's spontaneous combustion, and it can be absolutely electrifying. But there's a catch. Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet of war and action. They're direct, sometimes to the point of being harsh, and they don't always stop to wrap their words in soft packaging. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, is the poet of the zodiac, gentle, sensitive, absorbing other people's energies like a sponge. When Aries blurts out a sharp truth, Pisces might smile on the surface but retreat deep inside, wounded and wondering why their friend can't just be a little softer. And then there's the dance of decision-making. Aries is fast. They want a yes or no now, preferably 5 minutes ago. Pisces likes to float, to imagine all the angles, to check how it feels in their soul before committing. To Aries, this can feel like indecisiveness bordering on infuriating hesitation. To Pisces, Aries' pushiness can feel like a bulldozer crashing through a peaceful meadow. Yet somehow, if they're patient, this friendship has a magic that's hard to match. When Aries truly cares about Pisces, they learn to hold back the impulse to steamroll. They learn that sometimes the best adventures are the ones you plan while lying on your back, watching clouds drift by. And Pisces, feeling safe in Aries' fierce loyalty, finds the courage to speak up, set gentle boundaries, and remind Aries that life isn't always a race. Sometimes, it's a song that needs to be heard in full. Together, they teach each other balance. Aries pulls Pisces into the real world, turning dreams into plans, plans into action, and action into unforgettable memories. Pisces invites Aries to slow down just long enough to savor the beauty they'd otherwise rush past, the quiet sunrise after a night of bold plans, the peaceful sigh of waves after the party's over. Of course, not every day is smooth sailing and starlit secrets. Arguments can flare when Aries gets frustrated by Pisces' refusal to stick to a single idea, or when Pisces feels Aries has crossed a line with their brash humor or impatient tone. But if they care enough to talk, really talk, they'll discover they both crave the same thing underneath it all: a friend who sees their true heart, forgives their rough edges, and celebrates their wild spirit. The beauty of Pisces and Aries as friends is that they each hold a missing piece for the other. Aries shows Pisces that courage isn't just a word in a fairy tale, it's the fuel that makes dreams real. Pisces shows Aries that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the heartbeat of connection, the soul behind the spark. When they laugh together, it's explosive. When they dream together, it's transcendent. And when they fight for each other, not just with each other, they're unstoppable. They're the spark that dances on the waves, the gentle tide that cools the flame, the reminder that even the fiercest fire needs the calm of water to keep from burning itself out. So if you see an Aries and a Pisces side by side, one with a wild grin and a plan, the other with a wistful smile and a dream. Don't be surprised when they vanish on a spontaneous road trip, reappear 3 states away with 1,000 stories, and promise you the adventure was just the beginning. Because when fire meets water, the real magic happens not when they try to change each other, but when they dance in the steam they make together. Pisces and Taurus, a cozy safe harbor. Picture this. Soft blankets thrown across a couch on a rainy afternoon, the comforting scent of freshly brewed coffee drifting through the air, and 2 friends so at ease in each other's presence that silence feels like the warmest conversation in the world. That's Pisces and Taurus in their purest form. A friendship built on the simple, sacred magic of feeling safe, seen, and gently held when life outside feels too harsh or too fast. Taurus, ruled by Venus, is the master of creating comfort. They know the best spot for brunch, the coziest corner in a noisy cafe, the park bench where the breeze always feels right. They're the friend who'll hand you a blanket when you didn't know you were cold, or remind you to eat when you're lost in your head. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, brings the dream, the poetic touch that turns ordinary moments into tiny, fleeting miracles. A walk through the city becomes a scene from a movie when Pisces is there to point out how the streetlights hit the puddles just so. A late-night conversation under fairy lights feels like a page from a secret diary you both forgot you were writing. Together, they create a friendship that feels like home, one that other people envy but rarely understand. Taurus adores how Pisces can make a mundane Tuesday feel like a soulful retreat. They find Pisces' gentle nature grounding and soothing, like a soft melody that plays in the background of their carefully built world. Pisces, in turn, treasures the way Taurus stays steady when everything else feels like shifting waves. Taurus doesn't just listen, they hold space. They don't just nod along, they anchor Pisces to something real when dreams threaten to drift too far. When these two spend time together, the rest of the world slows down. Their hangouts rarely need grand plans or wild adventures. A cup of tea, a playlist of songs that say what words can't, maybe a spontaneous stroll to pick wildflowers or watch the sunset, that's all they need. They're the friends who will sit side by side in complete silence and come away feeling like they've just had the deepest conversation of their lives. But even in this peaceful harbor, waves can sometimes stir. Taurus can be stubborn. Once they've made up their mind, it's like trying to move a mountain. Pisces, meanwhile, often drifts away from conflict entirely, choosing to swallow their feelings rather than risk an uncomfortable discussion. When hurt feelings do bubble up, it usually happens softly, a slight withdrawal, an unspoken tension that neither wants to poke at too roughly. And yet, the beauty of this bond is that drama is not welcome here. Neither Pisces nor Taurus thrives on yelling or slamming doors. They'd rather pour 2 cups of chamomile tea, sit down, and gently pick apart what went wrong, slowly, carefully, until the knot untangles. It might take time, but forgiveness flows easily between them because, deep down, they trust that the friendship is worth protecting. Taurus, with their practical nature, often teaches Pisces how to stand firmer, how to ask for what they need instead of hoping someone will read their mind. Pisces, in return, shows Taurus that not everything has to make sense or be part of a plan. Sometimes you just have to feel your way through, trusting that the heart knows where it's going even when the road is foggy. It's not unusual to find these two escaping from the chaos of the world together. They're the friends who'll book a cozy cabin for a weekend getaway, just to read books by the fire and watch the rain paint poetry on the windows. They'll stay up late sharing secrets they didn't know they needed to say, and in the morning, they'll make pancakes and laugh about dreams they half remember. Over time, their friendship becomes a refuge, a quiet corner they both retreat to when life outside gets too sharp. Others might not always notice the depth of what they share, because it's subtle. It's not loud or showy. It's the text message from Taurus asking, "Did you eat today?" Or Pisces sending a song at 2 a.m. with a note that says, "This made me think of you." In a world that can feel too busy, too demanding, and too cold, Pisces and Taurus remind each other of the small luxuries that truly matter: warmth, loyalty, trust, and the comfort of knowing you don't have to pretend to be anything you're not. Here, in this cozy safe harbor, they're free to just be, messy, sleepy, dreamy, stubborn, real. So, if you find yourself lucky enough to witness a Pisces and Taurus in their natural habitat, curled up under blankets, talking about everything and nothing, completely at peace, know you're seeing something rare. A friendship that doesn't shout to prove itself but whispers, "I'm here." Always. And sometimes, that's all we really need. Pisces and Gemini, chaos and creativity. Now here's a duo that's genuinely fascinating to watch, like trying to follow a butterfly through a dream. When Pisces and Gemini come together as friends, it's as if two different versions of curiosity collide and multiply, spinning out 1,000 conversations and adventures that only they can fully understand. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, lives for questions, stories, gossip, and ideas. Their minds buzz constantly, always hungry for fresh information, new experiences, or the next big thing to break the boredom that stalks them like a shadow. They're the sign that changes lunch plans 3 times before noon, and maybe twice more on the way to the restaurant. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, is no stranger to wandering. But while Gemini's curiosity shoots outward, Pisces drifts inward. Their daydreams run deep, tinted with feeling and memory and a longing for something beyond the tangible world. If Gemini is the wind that carries seeds of thought in all directions, Pisces is the ocean where those seeds sink, sprout, and turn into forests of fantasy no one else can quite see. When these two meet, you'll hear them before you see them, or maybe you won't hear them at all, because they've found a hidden corner to lose themselves in a conversation that skips from Greek mythology to conspiracy theories to songwriting to why the stars make us feel so small and yet so connected. Hours pass like minutes when they're together. Gemini cracks Pisces open with quick wit and sly jokes, making them laugh at life's absurdities. Pisces soothes Gemini's restless mind, reminding them that sometimes answers don't matter as much as the beauty of the question itself. This friendship is painted in bright, impossible colors. The impulsive late-night drives just to chase the moon, the shared playlists, the impulsive art projects that might never get finished but always feel worth starting. Gemini loves how Pisces listens, really listens, without needing to poke holes in every dreamy idea. Pisces loves how Gemini pulls them out of their own head and dares them to do something with all that feeling. But for all the magic, there's a catch. And it's one that trips them up more often than either wants to admit. Gemini, with their airy, quicksilver energy, can slip away without warning. Maybe they forget to reply to a text, maybe they get caught up in something new, a book, a trip, a different circle of friends. To Gemini, it's not betrayal. It's just how their mind works, fast, scattered, constantly pulled forward by curiosity. But to Pisces, who thrives on connection that feels soulful and deep, these little vanishings cut like tiny, invisible paper cuts. They might not say anything, confrontation is Pisces' least favorite language, but inside, they start to drift, too, pulling their soft heart back into safer waters. The saving grace here is communication. When Gemini slows down enough to notice Pisces' silence, and when Pisces finds the courage to say, "Hey, that hurt me," something beautiful happens. Gemini learns that their butterfly nature comes with responsibility. You can flit from flower to flower, but don't forget the ones who opened their petals just for you. Pisces learns that sometimes, vanishing doesn't mean abandonment. Sometimes, it's just Gemini being Gemini. When they get it right, these two are an unstoppable creative duo. They write songs together in messy bedrooms at 3 a.m., dreaming about how they'll travel the world. They start podcasts they may never publish, write poetry on napkins in diners, and plan art shows that might stay imaginary forever, but who cares? For them, the act of creating is enough. The fun is in the spark. Their friendship works best when they give each other freedom without taking it personally. Gemini can't be caged, they'll resent it and slip away faster. Pisces needs gentle reassurance that they matter even when Gemini's focus drifts. If they find that sweet spot, equal parts space and closeness, they build something rare. A friendship that feels like an open road with no wrong turns. They teach each other, too, in ways neither expects. Gemini learns that not everything needs to be dissected or explained. Some feelings are meant to be felt, some mysteries to be honored. Pisces learns that ideas, once shared, can fly higher than dreams hoarded in secret. Together, they find the balance between talking and doing, between questioning and accepting, between chasing every door and savoring the room they're in. There will be hiccups. Gemini's blunt honesty might sting Pisces when they're feeling fragile. Pisces' tendency to slip into melancholy can frustrate Gemini, who wants to lighten every mood with a joke. But when they care, and they usually do, they find a way to keep coming back to each other, forgiving the flaws, laughing off the awkward silences, and starting the next weird project that probably won't make sense to anyone else. When you see Pisces and Gemini together, you're watching living proof that chaos can be beautiful and creativity thrives where boundaries blur. They are the rain and the breeze, the daydream and the brainstorm, the question and the sigh. If you're lucky enough to be invited into their strange, sparkling little world, don't try to figure it out. Just sit back, listen to them spin their stories, and watch how they turn ordinary moments into a riot of color, noise, and wonder. Because with Pisces and Gemini, life isn't about the finish line, it's about every wild, beautiful detour along the way. Pisces and Cancer, two old souls. This is one of the purest, most unspoken, quietly profound friendships in the entire zodiac, the kind that doesn't need big gestures or constant explanations to prove how deep it runs. When Pisces and Cancer find each other, it's like two waves of the same ocean finally meeting on a hidden shore. They share something ancient and instinctive, a bond rooted not just in words but in the way they feel the world around them. Both water signs, both ruled by emotion and intuition, both old souls who know that some connections are written in the stars long before they even say hello. When Pisces and Cancer sit together, the room softens. The noise fades. The world slows down, because they've carved out a gentle harbor where they can breathe in each other's presence and exhale all the secrets they're too scared to tell anyone else. Pisces, with their boundless empathy and dreamy spirit, makes Cancer feel seen in a way few people do. Cancer, in return, wraps Pisces in the warmest kind of love, protective, loyal, and fiercely safe. This friendship often starts quietly but roots itself deeply. They're the kids who share secrets under the blanket with a flashlight. The teenagers who write each other letters they keep for decades. The adults who don't need to talk every day because the bond is always humming beneath the surface. When they do talk, hours vanish like falling stars. They share stories they've never said out loud, trade fears that keep them up at night, and soothe each other with the kind of tenderness you only find when two hearts trust fully. Cancer's strength is like a shell, hard on the outside to guard the softness within. Pisces senses this immediately and knows exactly how to slip past the shell without breaking it. They listen without judgment. They sit with Cancer's tears without trying to fix them too quickly. In return, Cancer becomes Pisces' anchor in a world that often feels too rough, too sharp, too harsh for Pisces' delicate spirit. When life knocks Pisces down, Cancer is there with warm blankets, hot tea, and a promise that they're not alone. It's not all midnight talks and gentle tears, though. These two can laugh until they can't breathe. They find magic in small rituals. Baking cookies on a rainy day, rewatching their favorite childhood movies, sending each other songs that say what they can't quite put into words. They're the friends who remember your mom's birthday, who notice when your eyes look sad even when you swear you're fine, who will drive through the night if you say, "I need you." But even the safest tide pools can sometimes flood. The same deep well of feeling that binds them can pull them under if they're not careful. When both Pisces and Cancer slip too far into their moods, the friendship can drown in unspoken worries and imagined slights. Pisces might retreat into daydreams or melancholy. Cancer might build walls, crab-like, hiding inside their shell to nurse old wounds instead of letting Pisces in to help heal them. This is where they must remember that the ocean isn't meant to be a prison, it's meant to flow. When they get tangled in their own emotions, they have to reach for each other with gentle reminders, a quiet text, a home-cooked meal, a simple "I'm here. Talk to me." They don't need grand speeches, just a hand held out in the dark, reminding them they're never truly alone. One of the rare gifts of this friendship is how little ego gets in the way. Neither sign cares about winning an argument for the sake of pride. If they hurt each other, and sometimes they will, they usually circle back with soft apologies and tearful hugs. They'd rather fix the crack in the glass than throw it away. They know that what they have is rare, and they protect it like an heirloom that gets more valuable with every passing year. When they grow older together, they carry each other's memories. Pisces reminds Cancer to keep dreaming, to keep believing that life still holds wonder, no matter how heavy things get. Cancer reminds Pisces that home is not just a place but a feeling, and that they'll always have one in each other. So if you see Pisces and Cancer curled up on a couch, heads pressed close, laughing at an inside joke no one else gets, know you're looking at two souls who found each other in the noisy crowd and decided, without even saying it out loud, this one's mine to keep safe. And safe they are, even when storms come, even when the world feels too cold. Pisces and Cancer always find their way back to that quiet cove where secrets stay safe, hearts stay soft, and no one ever has to pretend to be stronger than they feel. This is more than friendship, it's a promise. A promise whispered between two old souls who know that no matter how many waves crash, they'll keep rising together, gentle but unbreakable. Pisces and Leo, dreamer meets the star. Imagine a shy poet and a dazzling movie star sharing the same spotlight. That's Pisces and Leo when they become friends. It's like watching moonlight dance with fire. One glows softly, dreamily, illuminating secrets that hide in the shadows. The other burns bright and fearless, commanding every eye in the room and lighting up even the darkest corners. Leo, ruled by the sun, is warmth and theater and charisma you can feel from across the street. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, is the soft hush behind the curtain, the hush that turns a monologue into a masterpiece. Together, they're an unexpected duet, but when it works, it's unforgettable. Pisces has an almost enchanted fascination with Leo's radiance. Where others might find Leo's need for the spotlight exhausting, Pisces sees the childlike wonder underneath it, the fierce heartbeat of someone who wants to turn life into a stage where every moment deserves an ovation. Pisces is endlessly curious about what makes Leo roar so brightly. In Leo's presence, Pisces feels braver somehow, more visible in a world where they often hide their deepest gifts out of fear of being misunderstood. To Pisces, Leo is living proof that it's okay to be seen, gloriously, unapologetically seen. And Leo? Leo is drawn to Pisces for reasons they can't always name. Leo might have a whole crowd cheering their name, but only Pisces can stand next to them in the wings and whisper, "I see the real you, the part that doesn't need applause." Pisces makes Leo feel understood in a way no fan or admirer ever could. They sense the soft, noble heart that beats beneath the bold roar. They remind Leo that sometimes the bravest thing is to drop the crown for a moment and just be human. When they're together, it's a friendship made of shared secrets and spontaneous celebrations. They're the pair who will plan an over-the-top party on a random Tuesday just because the moon looks beautiful. Leo brings the people, the glitter, the music turned all the way up. Pisces adds the soul, the perfect song at just the right moment, the quiet corner where confessions spill like poetry when the night grows softer. They balance each other in ways neither fully understands but both deeply need. Leo, with their fiery optimism, coaxes Pisces out of hiding. They'll be the friend who grabs Pisces by the hand and says, "Sing that song, read that poem, show the world what you see when you close your eyes, they'll love you like I do." And when Pisces dares to believe that maybe, just maybe, their art and heart deserve to be witnessed, it's Leo's pride that lifts them up, makes them feel like a star in their own right. Pisces gives Leo a gift too, the gift of depth. With Pisces, Leo learns that it's okay to be tender behind the roar, to admit when they're tired of performing, to rest their head on a shoulder that asks for nothing in return but honesty. Pisces listens when Leo talks about secret fears and doubts, nodding softly like it's the most beautiful confession they've ever heard. In that gentle space, Leo's strength grows roots, because they know they're loved for who they are, not just for the show they put on. Of course, it's not always standing ovations and soft piano music. Leo's bluntness, that fiery, sometimes too honest tongue, can cut Pisces deeper than Leo ever intends. What Leo sees as playful teasing or practical truth can echo in Pisces' mind for days, like a scratch on an old record that won't quite fade. Meanwhile, Pisces' shifting moods and occasional silences can frustrate Leo, who thrives on clarity, drama they can see and fix, not hidden ripples beneath the surface. When hurt feelings bubble up, it's easy for Pisces to drift away quietly instead of saying what's wrong. Leo, busy shining, might not notice at first, and when they do, they might roar too loudly, demanding an explanation Pisces doesn't feel brave enough to give. This is where their friendship asks for more than charm and understanding, it asks for courage and patience. Leo must learn that sometimes silence isn't rejection, but a signal to soften their fire, to listen without trying to fix. Pisces must learn that their voice matters, even when it trembles, that Leo's heart is big enough to hold their truth without judgment. When they get this right, when Leo listens gently and Pisces dares to speak up, they create a loyalty that sparkles like gold dust. They become each other's secret champions. Pisces is the friend Leo calls at 2 a.m. when the spotlight feels too bright and the applause too thin. Leo is the friend who reminds Pisces to stand tall when the world tries to tell them their softness is weakness. People notice this pair when they walk in together, one radiant, the other dreamy, both wrapped in an unspoken promise to never let the other disappear in the crowd. They lift each other up in ways that last a lifetime. Leo teaches Pisces how to roar. Pisces teaches Leo how to whisper. And in the space between the roar and the whisper, something rare and golden blooms. A bond that survives the parties, the late nights, the misunderstandings, the grand apologies. A friendship that feels like a standing ovation, not from the world, but from each other. So if you ever wonder what it looks like when a dreamer meets a star, look for the shy poet and the dazzling performer laughing together in the corner, planning the next wild adventure that will live forever in both their hearts. Because when Pisces and Leo decide to love each other as friends, they turn life into a stage where everyone has a role, everyone has a light, and nobody ever has to shine alone. Pisces and Virgo, opposites attract. This is one of those rare friendships that prove how two people can stand on opposite ends of life's spectrum and still build a bridge strong enough to carry them both. When Pisces and Virgo come together, it's logic meeting wonder, structure embracing chaos, the spreadsheet hugging the dreamcatcher. Virgo, ruled by Mercury, approaches life like a scientist with a checklist, efficient, practical, endlessly analyzing what could go wrong and how to prevent it. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, drifts through life like a poet lost in a watercolor daydream, feeling first, questioning later, trusting that sometimes the answer isn't on the page but in the silence between the lines. At first glance, they shouldn't work. Virgo's natural instinct is to fix, organize, critique, and polish life until it gleams under a microscope. Pisces, meanwhile, resists being pinned down. They'd rather float where the current takes them, trusting gut feelings over detailed plans. Yet when these two signs cross paths, something subtle and remarkable happens. They fill each other's empty spaces in ways neither knew they needed. To Virgo, Pisces is an unsolvable mystery they can't help but be drawn to. There's something soothing about Pisces' gentle energy, the way they see beauty in imperfections Virgo usually wants to scrub away. Virgo finds themselves slowing down when they're around Pisces, pausing their relentless inner critic long enough to notice a sunset, the taste of tea, the shape of passing clouds. Pisces has a way of showing Virgo that life isn't just a checklist. It's also a song, a painting, a fleeting moment that can't be scheduled but should always be savored. For Pisces, Virgo becomes the anchor they secretly crave. In a world that often feels too loud, too sharp, too demanding for Pisces' soft spirit, Virgo steps in like a sturdy lighthouse in the storm. They're the friend who remembers the deadline, the doctor's appointment, the fact that Pisces hasn't eaten a real meal in 2 days because they've been lost in a creative trance. Virgo's calm competence is a balm for Pisces' easily overwhelmed heart. Knowing that someone has the details covered frees Pisces to dream bigger, and maybe even follow through. It's not all gentle lessons and quiet support, though. These opposites can frustrate each other to the point of tears if they're not careful. Virgo's honest, sometimes nitpicky feedback can feel like daggers to sensitive Pisces, who hears every well-meaning suggestion as a hidden insult. Meanwhile, Pisces' tendency to drift away mid-conversation or abandon practical tasks can drive Virgo up the wall. Virgo wants plans. Pisces wants possibilities. Virgo wants proof. Pisces wants faith. Virgo files the receipts. Pisces loses them under a pile of half-finished sketchbooks. But beneath every eye roll and exasperated sigh is a bond built on deep, almost grudging respect. Virgo may call Pisces flaky, but they secretly admire the courage it takes to feel so deeply in a world that often demands armor. They see how Pisces turns heartache into art, mistakes into lessons, dreams into fuel. Pisces, for their part, trusts Virgo like they trust the tide, steady, reliable, always there when they say they will be. No matter how far Pisces drifts, they know Virgo is a safe shore to swim back to. The magic happens when they learn to adjust for each other's rhythms. Virgo, if they love Pisces enough, discovers the power of gentleness, that sometimes the best fix isn't a solution, but a hug. That not every conversation needs an answer, sometimes it just needs presence. Pisces, when they love Virgo back, makes an effort to show up, to finish what they start, to remember the little promises that mean everything to their practical friend. It's not about changing who they are, but about growing into a version of themselves that holds space for the other. When they get it right, they're an unstoppable pair, the dreamer and the doer, the poet and the planner. Virgo helps Pisces turn vague ideas into tangible reality. The half-written song becomes a recorded track because Virgo booked the studio. The unfinished painting gets framed because Virgo reminded Pisces that their art deserves a place on the wall, not just in their head. And Pisces helps Virgo remember that perfection isn't the goal, connection is. That sometimes the mess is where the magic lives. Their friendship is full of small, meaningful moments. Virgo organizing Pisces' chaotic workspace while Pisces plays soft music in the background. Pisces surprising Virgo with a handwritten letter tucked into their planner. Virgo taking Pisces' half-baked dreams seriously enough to say, "Okay, how do we make this happen?" Pisces reminding Virgo that it's okay to sit down, breathe, and let the world spin without trying to control every detail. Together, they remind each other of what life can be when logic and magic work side by side. Virgo learns that sometimes the spreadsheet can wait if the sky is burning pink outside. Pisces learns that following through doesn't ruin the dream, it makes it real. If you see these two together, Virgo rolling their eyes at Pisces' latest whimsical idea, Pisces laughing softly when Virgo fusses over a to-do list, know that underneath the banter is an unspoken promise. I'll keep you grounded if you teach me how to fly. And in that promise, both find a piece of themselves they didn't even know was missing. Pisces and Libra, dreamy idealists. Pisces and Libra might feel like they've known each other for lifetimes after a single dreamy conversation, and in a way, they have. These two zodiac signs, though ruled by very different planets, speak the same secret language: beauty, softness, wonder, and the search for something more tender than reality often allows. Libra, ruled by Venus, glides through life like a curator of good taste, drawn to anything that pleases the senses, from classical art to the way sunlight filters through lace curtains. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, drifts in and out of daydreams, weaving poetry out of passing thoughts and turning ordinary days into fleeting masterpieces no one else quite notices the same way. When Pisces and Libra meet, it's like two kindred spirits recognizing each other in a noisy world. There's an instant ease, no forced small talk, no posturing. One moment they're strangers, the next they're lost in an hours-long conversation about their favorite books, childhood wishes, half-forgotten dreams, and the places they'd run away to if only they could. They share a deep, romantic view of life, always looking for the hidden sweetness that makes existence feel a little softer, a little more forgiving. Together, they're the friends who linger too long in cozy coffee shops, refilling mugs they barely touch because they're too busy whispering secrets across the table. They're the pair who wander through museums at closing time, heads tilted toward each other as they invent backstories for the portraits on the walls. They're the ones who text each other photos of sunsets and say, "This reminded me of you." The world feels safer, kinder, more vivid when they're in it together. Libra brings to the friendship a gentle sense of balance that Pisces finds soothing. Where Pisces can get swept away in emotions or tangled in abstract dreams, Libra offers the quiet gift of perspective, the ability to see every side of a story and weigh it with grace. Pisces, in return, adds a touch of magic to Libra's polished world. They remind Libra that not every question needs an answer, not every choice needs perfect timing. Sometimes you just follow your heart and see where it leads. Yet even the most delicate bonds can fray if no one tends to the knots. Pisces and Libra share a hidden weakness. Both hate conflict like cats hate water. Libra avoids it because it breaks the harmony they work so hard to keep. Pisces shies away because they fear harsh words will cut too deeply. So when problems arise, and they always do, even for the most poetic friends, they may sidestep them, hoping gentle smiles and changed subjects will be enough to keep the peace. The trouble comes when little hurts or misunderstandings pile up like dust in a sunbeam. Libra might feel frustrated by Pisces' occasional vagueness or their tendency to disappear into a fog of feelings instead of making a clear decision. Pisces, in turn, can feel overlooked when Libra tries to smooth over disagreements instead of addressing what's really wrong. And if both signs get swept too far into their beautiful illusions, reality has a way of barging in like an unwelcome guest at a garden party, harsh, loud, impossible to ignore. This is where their greatest lesson lies: balance. Libra and Pisces must learn that true harmony isn't just about avoiding ripples, it's about letting honest words surface even when they're uncomfortable. If Libra can gently push Pisces to speak their heart instead of hiding it behind a wistful smile, Pisces learns that vulnerability doesn't always have to hurt. If Pisces can reassure Libra that conflict doesn't mean collapse, that it can be a bridge, not a break, Libra relaxes into a friendship that feels sturdy, not fragile. When they get this dance right, they make magic together. They're the friends who plan last-minute road trips just to chase autumn leaves or find a hidden beach. They're the ones who send each other playlists for rainy days and write each other notes on napkins that say, "Don't forget how loved you are." They show up at each other's doorsteps with flowers for no reason except, "I saw these and thought you'd smile." This friendship doesn't shout, it doesn't storm the gates or demand center stage. Instead, it hums like a secret melody under everything else, reminding them both that life is more beautiful when you share its small wonders with someone who sees them too. Libra teaches Pisces the elegance of simplicity, how to untangle feelings with gentle questions and balanced thoughts. Pisces teaches Libra that it's okay to dive deeper than polite conversation and lose yourself in the big, messy ocean of emotion that lives behind every polished smile. Years down the road, you'll find Pisces and Libra side by side, maybe still in that same corner cafe, finishing each other's half-formed sentences, trading old dreams for new ones. They'll have learned to speak up when silence won't do. They'll have forgiven each other's soft disappearances and quiet hesitations. And they'll know that in a world that often feels too sharp, they're each other's cushion, the dreamer and the diplomat, the poet and the peacemaker. So if you ever wonder what it looks like when two old souls find each other and build a friendship out of shared daydreams, look for Pisces and Libra walking down a tree-lined street, arms linked, laughing about something only they understand. Watch how they pause to admire the flowers, how they notice the way light hits the pavement just so, how they hold the world, and each other, with the gentle care of people who know that even the softest things can last forever when tended with love. Pisces and Scorpio, soul-deep connection. If you've ever caught a glimpse of two people locked in a wordless moment, eyes meeting in a crowded room, a flicker of knowing passing between them like a secret only they can hear, you've witnessed the silent language of Pisces and Scorpio. These two water signs are made of the same hidden tides, emotions that run deeper than words can capture, secrets buried in the heart like treasures beneath the ocean floor, dreams half whispered and half understood. When Pisces and Scorpio find each other in this chaotic world, they find something sacred, a soul-level connection that feels like coming home to a part of themselves they didn't know was missing. Scorpio, ruled by dark, intense Pluto, is a sign that holds nothing halfway. They live fiercely, feel everything fully, and guard their heart like a locked vault. Trust does not come easy for Scorpio, but when it does, it's absolute. They crave loyalty and truth like oxygen. Pisces, ruled by ethereal Neptune, is the dreamer, the healer, the empath who absorbs everyone else's feelings like rain soaking into soil. Pisces drifts where their heart takes them, forever searching for beauty in places others overlook. To Scorpio, this softness is both fascinating and terrifying, a reminder that not all strength looks like armor. Sometimes, it's the courage to stay gentle in a world that can be so cruel. Together, they create a friendship that feels like stepping into a hidden sanctuary. When they talk, it's rarely about the surface, the weather, the traffic, the small polite nothings that fill up ordinary conversations. Instead, they dive straight into the deep end. Secrets they've never told anyone else, half-formed fears, old wounds that still sting on quiet nights. Scorpio listens with a piercing, almost psychic focus, catching every nuance in Pisces' words, every emotion they try to mask. Pisces listens without flinching when Scorpio reveals the darker corners of their mind, refusing to run from the shadows Scorpio carries like scars. These two can spend hours in the same room without speaking, each reading the other's silence like poetry. They might share long, whispered confessions under the stars, or disappear into a late-night phone call that stretches until dawn, voices low and raw with truths they'd never dare share in daylight. They're the friends who can sit in a parked car long after the music stops, headlights cutting into the dark, hearts wide open. When the rest of the world feels cold or false, they retreat into this bond, where no mask is needed. Scorpio's loyalty is fierce. Once they decide Pisces is worthy of their trust, they become a silent bodyguard against a world that has often hurt their softer friend. They'll fight battles Pisces can't bear to face, stand up for them when they're too tired to speak, and check in even when Pisces tries to slip away into their fog of dreams and distractions. Pisces, in turn, offers Scorpio something rarer than loyalty, unconditional acceptance. Scorpio doesn't have to be perfect here. They can be flawed, furious, afraid, and Pisces will hold space for all of it, never demanding they dilute their intensity to make others more comfortable. But like any ocean, this connection can stir up storms. Scorpio's protectiveness sometimes slides into possessiveness, an instinct to claim and hold tightly what they love. Pisces, who needs the freedom to drift, to disappear into daydreams and emotional tides, can feel caged if Scorpio clamps down too hard. When Scorpio senses Pisces slipping away, forgetting promises, losing themselves in a haze of distractions, their reaction can be sharp, even cutting. Scorpio's words have the power to wound, and Pisces, already so sensitive, can sink under that weight instead of fighting back. Yet what saves them is the same thing that draws them together: trust. These two signs can read the cracks before they break. Scorpio's intensity is softened by Pisces' gentle reminders that not every distance is a betrayal, sometimes it's just a soul trying to breathe. Pisces learns, slowly, that Scorpio's blunt honesty isn't meant to hurt but to protect something they value too deeply to let rot in silence. When they get this right, and they often do, because despite the storms they are hopelessly devoted, they become more than friends. They become each other's secret keepers, the first number dialed at 3 a.m. when the past won't stay buried or the future feels too heavy to face alone. They're each other's therapist, spiritual guide, late-night philosopher, and soft place to land when the world is too much. Together, they explore life's mysteries, everything from the paranormal to the meaning of dreams, astrology, lost loves, life after death. They feed each other's hunger for what's hidden and unseen. Pisces brings the mystical, the sense of wonder, the belief that there's more to life than logic can touch. Scorpio brings the courage to dig deeper, to ask the hard questions, to face the darkness with eyes wide open instead of looking away. If you're lucky enough to watch Pisces and Scorpio together, you'll see them in corners, sharing a secret laugh at a crowded party, lost in their own world while everyone else floats on the surface. You'll notice how Scorpio stands a little closer when someone raises their voice at Pisces, or how Pisces reaches out to touch Scorpio's arm when they sense the tension rising behind their friend's steady stare. It's subtle, this dance, but it's unbreakable. Years may pass, life may pull them in different directions, but this bond rarely dissolves. They can vanish from each other's lives and reappear as if no time has passed at all, picking up right where they left off, no explanations needed. The ocean remembers every drop of rain that falls into it, so do they. This is what soul-deep connection looks like. Not always easy, not always gentle, but always real. A secret world shared between two people who understand that to truly be seen is both the scariest and the most healing thing of all. In each other, Pisces and Scorpio find proof that no matter how dark the water gets, some lights never go out. Pisces and Sagittarius, wanderlust buddies. Now here's a duo that surprises everyone who thinks they've seen every friendship dynamic the Zodiac can conjure up, and sometimes they surprise themselves most of all. Pisces and Sagittarius seem so different at first glance that people wonder how they ever find common ground. One is the philosopher-poet adrift in a sea of imagination, the other the untamable explorer with fire in their blood and an itch for the far horizon that never really goes away. Yet when these two collide, something unexpected happens, a spark of curiosity that refuses to flicker out. Sagittarius, ruled by bold, buoyant Jupiter, is born to roam. They're the ones with a half-packed suitcase by the door and a list of places they need to see taped to the fridge. They crave cultures, road trips, foreign languages, mountain trails that vanish into mist. They want to taste every flavor life offers, new foods, new cities, new people. If they're standing still for too long, they feel like they're missing out on life's next big secret. Pisces, ruled by mystical Neptune, wanders too, just differently. Their roads are often inward, lined with art, dreams, music, and the kind of late-night thoughts that can't be mapped on any atlas. They dream of far-off places too, but they're just as happy to explore the galaxies inside a song, the universes folded into a single line of poetry. For Pisces, wandering is more about feeling than moving. It's about letting go of reality for a while to drift through a world of what if. Put these two together and watch what unfolds. Sagittarius spots Pisces sitting alone at a cafe with a sketchbook and strikes up a conversation about travel or philosophy or a conspiracy theory they read online. Pisces looks up, wide-eyed, instantly pulled into Sagittarius' wild enthusiasm. Next thing you know, they're plotting an impromptu trip to somewhere neither of them can pronounce, and it doesn't really matter if they go tomorrow or never. The planning, the dreaming, the shared possibility is half the fun. Sagittarius brings fresh air into Pisces' quiet corners. They're the friend who bursts in and says, "Pack your bag, we're going to see the ocean tonight." And Pisces, who often needs a gentle push to trade daydreams for real experiences, feels more alive than ever in that freedom. With Sagittarius, they learn that the real world can be just as magical as the one in their head, maybe even more so when you have someone fearless by your side. In return, Pisces offers Sagittarius something no plane ticket can buy: a reminder that adventure isn't always about the next country or the next thrill. Pisces shows Sagittarius how to journey inward, into feelings, vulnerability, compassion, and the tiny moments that happen when the noise stops. They're the quiet morning after the sleepless road trip, the soft voice asking, "But how did that make you feel?" when Sagittarius rattles off what they did. With Pisces, Sagittarius learns that the greatest discoveries sometimes live in the spaces between words. Of course, it's not all romantic getaways and campfires under foreign stars. These two have friction points that can wear at the edges if they're not careful. Sagittarius' honesty is often unfiltered. They see no point in sugarcoating the truth. To them, bluntness is freedom, clarity, a mark of respect. But Pisces, with their tender heart, can bruise under that bright spotlight. A thoughtless joke, an offhand critique, these things can stick to Pisces' soul like burrs on silk. On the flip side, Sagittarius sometimes stumbles when Pisces' moods roll in like a fog. Pisces can drift into melancholy without warning, growing quiet or suddenly needy for reassurance just when Sagittarius wants to feel unencumbered. To a freedom-loving Sag, this can feel suffocating, like the road narrowing too quickly. If they're not careful, they might pull away too fast, leaving Pisces adrift and wondering if they asked for too much. The gift, and the test, in this friendship is how they handle these moments. If Sagittarius learns to temper honesty with kindness, to see that some truths don't need to be spoken with a trumpet blast, they become gentler explorers of the heart. And Pisces, when they learn that their worth doesn't vanish if someone needs space, becomes more resilient, able to ride the tide of their own feelings without demanding someone else anchor them. When they figure this balance out, they become unstoppable. They're the friends with inside jokes scribbled in the margins of travel journals. They'll sit by a campfire in a strange country debating the meaning of life until the sun rises. They'll spend rainy nights at home turning their adventures into stories, songs, sketches, or wild plans for the next big escape. They inspire each other to see more, feel more, be more, not by changing who they are, but by expanding each other's edges. Years later, even if life scatters them across continents, they'll have postcards and photos stuffed in old boxes, proof that once they roamed the world together. And when they meet again, the conversation will pick up exactly where it left off, a wild, beautiful tangle of dreams, laughter, and plans for tomorrow's adventure, wherever that may be. So if you spot Pisces and Sagittarius side by side at an airport gate, one reading poetry and the other tracing lines on a map, know you're looking at wanderlust in its truest form. Two souls chasing the next horizon, one with feet on the ground and one floating just above it, together, exactly where they're meant to be. Pisces and Capricorn, builders and dreamers. At first glance, Pisces and Capricorn might look like two people who could sit at the same cafe for hours and never say a word to each other, simply because they seem to live in two completely different worlds. Capricorn is the mountain goat of the zodiac, climbing carefully, one sure-footed step at a time, eyes locked on the summit they've chosen. They are practical, patient, and often more comfortable with blueprints and bullet points than with abstract musings about what could be. Pisces, meanwhile, drifts into that same cafe like a wandering poet, a soft sigh wrapped in human form, their head half lost in a daydream about everything that hasn't happened yet but maybe someday will. One is a master planner, the other a master dreamer. But if you watch them a little longer, you'll see the subtle magic that makes this friendship work, and sometimes last a lifetime. Because while Capricorn may roll their eyes at Pisces' wandering stories, there's a secret part of them that aches for that freedom, that softness. And while Pisces might giggle at Capricorn's color-coded schedules and alarmingly organized to-do lists, deep down they crave exactly that kind of anchor, a steady hand to help turn their nebulous dreams into something that can stand in the daylight without crumbling. When Capricorn and Pisces find each other, they become an unlikely but powerful team. Capricorn brings the tools, the spreadsheets, the deadlines, the quiet encouragement that says, okay, but how do we do this? Pisces brings the vision, the wild ideas, the spark of inspiration that pulls Capricorn away from practical limits just long enough to believe in something bigger than what's already proven. It starts small. Maybe Capricorn sits across from Pisces and says, "Tell me what you want," and Pisces, blinking wide-eyed, spills out an unfiltered wish, a song they want to write, a story they want to publish, a business they want to start. And instead of laughing or dismissing it, Capricorn nods slowly and says, "All right. Let's break that down." They pull out a notebook, ask the hard questions, plot the steps Pisces would never plot alone. And suddenly, the dream doesn't feel so impossible. It feels like a goal. Pisces, for their part, returns the favor in ways that seem soft but cut deep. They remind Capricorn that life isn't just about climbing, it's about noticing the view along the way. When Capricorn is grinding so hard they forget to breathe, Pisces shows up with a warm blanket, a song to listen to, a reminder to close their eyes and just feel for a while. They pull Capricorn into daydreams that heal the cracks left by ambition's sharp edges. They teach Capricorn that vulnerability is not a weakness but a door that opens the heart to the kind of connection that can't be measured on any checklist. But like any pairing built on contrasts, this friendship tests them both. Capricorn's version of love and care often shows up as tough advice or practical truth bombs. They can be blunt, not cruel, but firm, like a cold wind that cuts through Pisces' gentle fog. When Pisces shares a half-formed idea and Capricorn immediately starts poking holes in it, not out of meanness, but because they want it to work, Pisces can feel deflated, misunderstood, or even hurt. It takes time for Capricorn to learn that sometimes Pisces doesn't want a plan, they just want to be heard, to dream out loud without fear of being trimmed down to size. On the flip side, Pisces' emotional tides can test even Capricorn's legendary patience. Pisces may cancel plans at the last minute because they're feeling overwhelmed or lost in a wave of mood they can't quite name. They may float from one idea to the next without finishing what they started, leaving Capricorn to wonder why they bother investing so much energy into someone who drifts like the tide. But Capricorn usually stays, because underneath the sighs and frustration, they see something precious in Pisces, a raw, unfiltered magic that reminds them what they're working so hard for in the first place. When they find their rhythm, they become a perfect pair of opposites that actually work. Capricorn, with their calloused hands and steady resolve, builds the sturdy ship. They check every beam, tighten every bolt, make sure it can survive rough seas. Pisces picks the destination, a far-off horizon painted in watercolor dreams, places Capricorn would never have dared to imagine alone. Together, they set sail into a life that's both practical and poetic, equal parts hard work and soft wonder. You'll find them side by side at a cafe, Capricorn making lists, Pisces doodling ideas in the margins. You'll see Capricorn showing up at Pisces' art show, standing quietly in the back but clapping the loudest when Pisces takes a timid bow. You'll hear Pisces coaxing Capricorn to take a weekend off work, to watch the stars or spend an afternoon doing absolutely nothing productive, and Capricorn, after a reluctant sigh, saying yes, because with Pisces, even stillness feels like it's going somewhere beautiful. Years down the line, this friendship ages well. They might laugh at how unlikely they seemed at first, the dreamer and the builder, the poet and the planner, but they'll know, in their bones, that they made each other better. Pisces dared to believe because Capricorn showed them how to make believing practical. Capricorn dared to soften because Pisces showed them that sometimes the best plans come from the heart, not the mind. So if you spot them together, one counting stars, the other counting steps, know you're witnessing proof that dreams don't have to stay dreams when you have someone beside you willing to help you build the bridge from your imagination to real life. Together, they prove that the tallest mountains and the deepest oceans can be crossed, as long as you remember to bring a blueprint and a dream. Pisces and Aquarius, cosmic rebels. Ever seen two people sit down together and, in the span of one wildly spiraling conversation, leap from ancient prophecies to conspiracy theories to climate change to the blueprint for a secret island commune they swear they'll build one day? That's Pisces and Aquarius in their natural element, two cosmic rebels who share the same unquenchable thirst for the unknown, the unusual, and the beautifully impossible. Together, they break every rule about what a friendship should look like and, in the process, build one that's as far out and fascinating as they are. Aquarius, the fixed air sign ruled by unpredictable Uranus, is the Zodiac's visionary rebel. They're the friend who questions everything, the why, the how, the who says so. They're endlessly curious about what's next, new technology, radical ideas, revolutionary movements, ways the world could be better if only people would just wake up. They're the ones drafting manifestos at 3 a.m. and emailing you strange articles that make you rethink everything you thought you knew about reality. Pisces, the mutable water sign ruled by dreamy Neptune, is a natural psychic sponge and spiritual nomad. They drift into Aquarius orbit with wide eyes and an open heart, ready to swim in any conversation, no matter how abstract or bizarre. Pisces has no problem abandoning the map. They'd rather float through a maze of possibilities, picking up scraps of hope, symbolism, and secret meaning along the way. Where some people roll their eyes at Aquarius out their ideas, Pisces leans in closer and says, "Tell me more." When these two click, it's like plugging a lightning bolt into the ocean. The energy they generate together is impossible to contain. They might spend an entire night sprawled on the floor with notebooks and paints, planning a nonprofit, a protest, a new art movement, and fully believe, in that moment, that they will change the world. And sometimes, they actually do. Aquarius brings the radical spark. Pisces brings the empathetic soul. Together, they're as idealistic as they are unpredictable. This friendship thrives because they share a core value that few other signs understand quite like they do: freedom. Neither of them likes being told who to be or how to feel. Pisces loves that Aquarius never judges their weirdest dreams or spiritual tangents. In fact, Aquarius will probably add 3 more. Aquarius, in turn, feels deeply seen by Pisces, whose boundless compassion wraps around their rebellious spirit like a soft blanket. For once, they don't have to explain why they'd rather debate aliens than make small talk about the weather. They're the friends who sign up for experimental workshops, collect crystals and obscure books, dream up utopian communities with solar-powered art studios and gardens for anyone who needs a meal. One moment they're at a protest, the next they're off the grid for a weekend, camping under the stars and talking about the soul of the universe. They love people but need space from them too, and in each other, they find a partner who gets that delicate balance. But this cosmic connection isn't without its earthly glitches. Aquarius, for all their revolutionary passion, can be emotionally distant, not because they don't care, but because they intellectualize feelings instead of sitting with them. They'd rather analyze an emotion than feel it, which can leave Pisces, the sign that lives to feel, feeling adrift and unseen. Pisces might pour their whole heart into the friendship, sending sweet texts, sharing vulnerable dreams, only to find Aquarius nodding, fascinated by the concept of emotion while forgetting to hold the person who's sharing it. Meanwhile, Pisces' need for closeness can trip Aquarius' hidden fear of being pinned down. Aquarius loves people but hates obligations. If Pisces gets too clingy, texting every hour, needing constant reassurance, Aquarius may vanish into thin air, ghosting for days or weeks until they're ready to re-emerge with a new cause or theory in hand. This dance of freedom versus fusion can push them apart if they don't learn to navigate it with radical honesty. Their secret weapon is the same thing that makes them magnetic: mutual respect for each other's wild, unpredictable ways. When Aquarius learns to soften, to remember that Pisces doesn't want to change them but just needs to feel them there, they become warmer, more present. When Pisces learns to trust that Aquarius will always come back, that space doesn't mean abandonment. They free themselves from anxiety and let the friendship breathe. When they get it right, this bond feels otherworldly, 2 souls daring to live outside the lines, drawn together not by logic but by the beautiful chaos they create together. They're the friends who might not talk for months but then pick up exactly where they left off, instantly sync like twin antennas tuned to the same cosmic channel. They're the weird ones, the dreamers, the ones you find in the corner of the party plotting a festival that might never happen, but if it does, it'll be legendary. You'll spot them wandering a farmer's market debating vegan politics, or sprawled under fairy lights in a backyard, painting protest signs and passing around a guitar. They're the pair who cheer each other on when everyone else calls them unrealistic. They'll laugh at that word, unrealistic, because they know it's just another word for a world not yet built. In the end, Pisces and Aquarius remind each other that life doesn't have to follow the rules, not when you can rewrite them together. If you ever see them, heads bent close over a half-finished map of a dream society, don't interrupt. They're busy designing a future where compassion and rebellion walk hand in hand, a world as strange, hopeful, and boundless as they are. Pisces and Pisces, a dream within a dream. What really happens when 2 dreamers find each other in a world that often feels too harsh for soft hearts and untamed imaginations? When 2 Pisces cross paths and decide to hold on to each other, it's like slipping through a secret doorway into a realm made entirely of unspoken poetry, starlight wishes, and the kind of understanding that doesn't need words to be true. 2 Pisces friends are like twin fish weaving through the same shimmering current. They don't just swim together, they become the ocean for each other. From the outside, this friendship can look like a beautiful haze. These 2 could spend an entire rainy afternoon lying on the floor with a single record on repeat, eyes closed, drifting in and out of dreams and memories only they fully understand. They'll trade snippets of poems and half-finished songs, doodle constellations on napkins, and talk for hours about the deepest corners of the human heart, what hurts, what heals, and what it all might mean in the end. A Pisces and Pisces friendship is full of sentences that trail off because the other one just knows how they end. It's a bond where a simple glance across a crowded room can say, "I feel it too." Where one sigh can open up a whole conversation about old wounds, secret fears, or impossible hopes. They become mirrors for each other's souls, reflecting the beauty and the ache in equal measure. Their days together might look lazy to the untrained eye. Endless hours watching movies that make them cry, walking by the water with no destination, drifting from one cafe to the next with books stuffed into tote bags they may never open. But under that dreamy calm is something quietly radical, the promise that in each other's presence, they can be, fully, messily, tenderly, without having to explain or defend a single fragile feeling. They understand that the world doesn't always reward softness, so they build a tiny sanctuary out of shared dreams. Here, no idea is too out there. Want to write a book of letters to your future self? Let's do it. Want to learn how to speak to whales or live in a cabin in the forest or make art no one ever sees? Yes, 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 why not? In each other's eyes, nothing is too weird to wonder about, nothing too foolish to wish for. But for all the magic and the moonlight, this friendship comes with hidden tides. Pisces is famously bad at anchoring themselves to reality, and when there are two of them, it's all too easy to drift further and further away from the shore. They may make big plans in a flurry of inspiration, only to let them fade when the practical steps feel too sharp and heavy for their delicate spirits. They might promise to call and then disappear for days, tangled up in their own inner storms. And because both are so gentle, they often avoid hard conversations, hoping silence will heal what honesty would fix faster. Without someone to steer the ship, two Pisces can end up drifting in circles, dreaming, longing, feeling everything, but doing little to pull those dreams onto solid ground. Bills get forgotten, deadlines slip by, hurt feelings fester quietly because neither wants to be the one to break the soft spell with a harsh truth. But here's where this bond can grow from sweet escape into something truly life-changing. When these two decide to ground each other just enough to bring the dream into the waking world. When one Pisces notices the other drifting too far and says, gently but firmly, "Come back. Let's do this together." When they hold each other accountable not with harsh rules but with patient reminders that their beautiful visions deserve to be real, not just floating ideas that never touch earth. A Pisces-Pisces friendship is at its best when they keep each other tethered by kindness and gentle responsibility. One might remind the other to send that email, finish that painting, show up for that appointment. They'll encourage each other to share their art instead of hiding it away, to believe that their voices matter even if they tremble when they speak. And when the world inevitably disappoints, they'll be right there with soft blankets and warm tea, reminding each other that it's okay to rest, but not to give up. When two Pisces lean into this gentle balance, they become an unstoppable force for compassion and creativity. They're the friends who volunteer at the local shelter together, write songs that make strangers cry, or create secret spaces for other sensitive souls to feel safe. Their softness becomes their superpower, not a weakness, but a quiet rebellion against a world that too often rewards the loudest and toughest. Years from now, you might find these two old souls still walking that same stretch of beach, stopping every few steps to point out a shell or a cloud that looks like a ship. They'll still be dreaming about the next poem, the next trip, the next soft adventure only they can see. And in each other's company, they'll still feel like they're living in a dream within a dream, a world too gentle to exist anywhere else but right here, between them. So if you ever wonder what it looks like when unconditional acceptance meets infinite imagination, look for two Pisces friends side by side, drifting through the chaos with matching faraway smiles. In their secret ocean, reality bends to kindness, dreams grow gills, and even the heaviest hearts learn how to float. So, which sign do you think is Pisces' ultimate ride or die? Remember, no matter your sign, friendships are built on understanding, patience, and the willingness to accept each other's waves and tides. So, which sign really is Pisces' ultimate ride or die? Is it the fiery Aries who shakes Pisces awake from their daydreams and drags them out to see the world in all its messy glory? Or the steadfast Taurus who wraps Pisces in a blanket of security, warmth, and gentle loyalty when the world outside feels too jagged? Maybe it's curious Gemini, the partner in chaos who sparks Pisces' imagination with ideas so wild they can barely keep up, or tender Cancer, who understands Pisces' tears without needing a single word, and loves them harder when they can't love themselves. Could it be dazzling Leo, who lifts Pisces onto a stage they'd be too shy to stand on alone and reminds them their soft voice deserves to echo? Or logical Virgo, whose practical kindness anchors Pisces' drifting dreams and shows them that sometimes magic needs a plan to take shape? Is it charming Libra, the fellow romantic who will wander art galleries and moonlit streets, whispering secrets that only Pisces can keep? Or intense Scorpio, the one who sees straight through Pisces' polite smiles and holds the secrets they're too afraid to say out loud? What about Sagittarius, the restless wanderer who pulls Pisces out of their comfort zone and says, "Pack your bag, trust me, we'll make this up as we go," the friend who turns daydreams into wild road trips and campfires under foreign stars? Or Capricorn, the steady mountain goat who gently pulls Pisces down from the clouds just long enough to build something real? The friend who rolls up their sleeves and proves that even the softest wishes can stand tall if you work for them? And don't forget rebellious Aquarius, who talks with Pisces about impossible futures and cosmic possibilities until the sun rises. The one friend who never judges the strange questions Pisces carries in their soul. Or maybe, just maybe, Pisces' truest ride or die is another Pisces, the rare twin flame who finishes their half-spoken thoughts, shares their secret tears, and holds their softest dreams like sacred treasures nobody else could ever touch. The truth is, every sign brings something irreplaceable to Pisces' ocean of feelings, a different tide, a different current, a different lesson in what it means to belong. There's no single right answer because real friendship isn't written in the stars alone. It's carved out, moment by moment, by two people willing to stay when the water gets rough and the fog rolls in. It's late-night apologies and early morning laughter. It's the whispered "I see you," the gentle "I've got you," the quiet promise that nobody has to swim alone. So maybe Pisces' perfect match isn't about sun signs or charts or cosmic predictions at all. Maybe it's about finding someone, anyone, brave enough to dive in deep, to listen with their whole soul, to hold the dreams that spill out when Pisces' gentle heart can't contain them anymore. Someone who reminds them that softness is not weakness, that being sensitive in this rough world is an act of rebellion, that their waves are not too much to love, they're exactly enough. So if you've been floating through your own ocean wondering who your ride or die might be, don't look too hard at the zodiac. Look at the people who meet you where you are, who hold space for your storms, who know when to anchor you and when to drift with you. That's the real magic. That's what makes a friend, cosmic sign or not. And if you enjoyed this cosmic journey through Pisces friendships, if you felt seen, curious, or just a little more dreamy than before, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay connected for more hidden magic tucked into every corner of the zodiac. Dive into the description for more astrological adventures that might just help you find your own starlit tribe. And wherever you wander, stay gentle, stay curious, and above all, stay dreamy, my friends.